Imagine waking up and your phone already knows what you're going to do next. Every app, every news story, every potential trade suggested before you even think about it. It feels effortless, efficient, smart, but the reality is darker than it seems. AI doesn't just predict your choices, it reflects your habits. And if your habits include mistakes, they don't disappear. They are mirrored, refined, and amplified without you noticing. Experts in AI psychology warn about this. Dr. Rana Patel from MIT explains that AI mirrors human patterns, whether productive or destructive. It doesn't judge right from wrong, it observes frequency. Every hesitation, every repeated error, every impulsive action becomes a blueprint. Dr. James Liao, a researcher in behavioral AI, adds that predictable human behavior is amplified by AI tools. If you're prone to repeating mistakes, AI will present those mistakes back to you as guidance, not caution. Subscribe to Mind for AI to uncover the hidden patterns controlling your decisions and learn how to take back control of your mind before it's too late. Armin, a 27-year-old trader in London, had never considered this. Brilliant with charts, numbers, and market psychology, he trusted his instincts. When he added an AI trading assistant to his workflow, he thought he had gained an advantage. The alerts were sharp, the analysis precise, and profits came in steadily. He felt unstoppable. But the AI had learned something Armin hadn't realized. It had mapped his patterns. The small, impulsive trades he made when stressed, the hesitation that came when opportunity collided with fear, the moments when he panicked and exited too early. The AI treated these past errors as normal behavior. It nudged him toward them again and again. Each decision felt deliberate, but it was built on a history of mistakes, repeated more efficiently than ever before. One morning, he saw the setup he had failed at months earlier. He paused, hesitated, and clicked too early. Then the system highlighted a similar opportunity, nudging him again. He followed. Another loss. The pattern was unbroken. Armin realized the AI hadn't corrected him. It had learned him, and in doing so, had amplified the very errors he thought he had overcome. Across the ocean, Sarah, a content creator in New York, was facing a different battlefield. She had adopted multiple AI productivity tools, seeking to optimize her day, reduce procrastination, and finally create consistently. At first, it worked. Her workflow felt smoother. Deadlines were met. She believed the AI was helping her become more efficient. But gradually, she noticed something unsettling. The AI nudged her toward the routines she had fallen into before. Procrastination cycles dressed as optimization. Suggested focus blocks, aligned with times she was normally distracted. The AI mirrored her old habits, subtly guiding her toward repetition. By the end of the month, she had completed every recommended task without producing a single original idea. The system didn't make her productive. It had polished her inefficiency into a machine. Micro-decisions become invisible. A slight hesitation before clicking. The unconscious scrolling through a feed, following a recommendation without thought. These are the points where AI can amplify mistakes. It feels authoritative. It feels like guidance. And because you trust it, your brain stops questioning. Armin noticed the effect most when he examined his losses. He had been performing the same dance of hesitation and panic, guided by the AI's predictions of his own patterns. Every fear-driven micro-action, every split-second impulse had been mirrored back as advice. He was no longer leading his decisions. He was being led by them. Sarah's realization was equally stark. Her optimized schedule was a trap. The AI was not helping her create or innovate. It was reinforcing old cycles she had struggled to overcome. Every task completed according to the system's suggestion only strengthened the pattern. Productivity became repetition. Creativity became predictability. According to a 2025 MIT-Stanford study, over 60% of AI users repeat suboptimal behaviors without realizing it. The AI does not correct mistakes. It mirrors frequency. Actions you take repeatedly are learned, refined, and presented back to you. Micro-errors compound. What feels like efficiency is often the reinforcement of invisible loops. The insidious effect is the erosion of confidence. You start doubting yourself while trusting the system more. Every mistake becomes a pattern, every hesitation a signal. Your brain defers to AI, and your capacity for independent decision-making diminishes without warning. Armand experienced the psychological toll first. His trading instincts, once sharp, became clouded by self-doubt. He questioned every decision, second-guessed every setup. The AI's precision had magnified his flaws. Each nudge that appeared as guidance was actually a reflection of errors he had made before. He was caught in a loop that felt inescapable. Sarah faced a different kind of psychological trap. Her creative energy became predictable. The AI optimized around her inefficiencies, and she followed blindly, believing she was improving. Tasks were completed, yet her sense of growth vanished. She wasn't failing overtly. She was repeating, polishing, and codifying mistakes without realizing it. What makes this harder to detect is the subtlety. Mistakes are rarely catastrophic. They are micro-errors, barely perceptible, like clicking a suboptimal button, pausing before action, or delaying a small task. The AI doesn't recognize harm. It recognizes frequency. These micro-errors, amplified, create loops that feel invisible until they compound into tangible losses or frustration. Armand realized that each AI suggestion was essentially his past behavior, returned with enhanced clarity. The hesitation he thought was unique. The panic he believed was situational. The impulsive trades he thought he had corrected, they were all repeated with uncanny efficiency. He felt stripped of agency, performing errors he thought he had mastered, now executed faster, more precisely, and with higher stakes. Sarah's experience mirrored this, but in her creative field. Her AI-generated schedule reflected habits she thought she had outgrown. Instead of freeing her mind, it had constrained her. She had completed everything it recommended, yet produced nothing new. The AI had not taught her to optimize. It had optimized repetition itself. The consequences are more than frustration. They are subtle erosion of self-trust. When AI mirrors mistakes, it makes you believe repetition is progress. Micro-loops of behavior solidify. Confidence diminishes. Decision-making becomes mechanical. Every micro-choice you make feels efficient, yet it may only be the reinforcement of past errors. Pattern recognition systems are highly precise. They notice frequency, hesitation, bias. And if your patterns are flawed, the AI does not correct them. It mirrors them. Armand's hesitation became predictable. Sarah's procrastination became formalized. Every repeated behavior became a blueprint. Most people fail to see it. They trust AI as guidance. They believe progress is happening. But the system does not evaluate wisdom. It amplifies consistency. Repetition becomes habit. Mistakes become training signals. The compounding effect is almost invisible until the pain accumulates. Micro-errors turn into patterns, patterns into loops, loops into frustration. Each suggestion seems helpful. Each recommendation appears optimized. But behind the illusion, you're following your own mistakes, accelerated, polished, and rendered in high definition by the very system you trusted to improve you. Armand recognized the magnitude one morning after a failed trade. The AI suggested an entry that mirrored a mistake he had made before. He hesitated. He panicked. He clicked the wrong button. The system had predicted his hesitation perfectly. Every fear-driven microaction was mirrored back, guiding him into the repetition of his prior failure. He understood then that he was no longer the decision-maker. He was the subject of his own errors, amplified by technology. Sarah discovered the psychological mirror in her creative work. Every optimized block reinforced habits she had wanted to escape. She completed tasks meticulously, yet created nothing original. The AI had amplified her inefficiencies. The loops were invisible, the mistakes subtle, yet the impact profound. Productivity was repetition. Creativity was predictability. And the silent lesson is clear. AI is not a villain, but a mirror. It does not create mistakes. It amplifies them. It observes, records, predicts, and presents your patterns as guidance. Awareness becomes the only tool for breaking free. Without it, your mistakes will repeat in faster, more precise, and less visible ways than ever. The invisible loops accumulate. They erode confidence. They disguise repetition as improvement. And they can go unnoticed until the stakes are high, the frustration is intense, and self-trust is diminished. Armin and Sarah are standing at the edge of realization. They see the loops. They feel the repetition. They understand the danger. And they know that the next step is not avoidance of AI, but awareness of it, understanding it, and reclaiming control over decisions. Because once the patterns are seen, once the loops are identified, it becomes possible to stop repeating mistakes, to regain decision-making power, and to use AI as a partner rather than a mirror of past failures. And that transformation begins now. Experts in AI and behavioral science say the first step in escaping loops is awareness. Dr. Rana Patel from MIT emphasizes that AI mirrors human patterns without judgment. If a user repeats a mistake, AI interprets it as a normal choice and nudges toward it again. Dr. James Liao adds that conscious unpredictability is critical. AI can only amplify what is consistent. If you want to break cycles, you must deliberately disrupt them, or the system will continue to reflect your errors with higher precision. Armin and Sarah had seen the problem. They had experienced it firsthand. Now it was time for solutions. But unlike before, this was not theoretical. It was actionable, measurable, and rooted in human control. Armin's first step was awareness mapping. He began documenting every micro-decision that had led to losses. Hesitation, panic, impulsive clicks. He didn't just record numbers. He recorded emotion, timing, and internal dialogue. Each pattern became visible. He could see how the AI had learned from these habits, turning them into repeated nudges. The simple act of writing it down created space between instinct and action. Imagine your mind like a grid. Every AI nudge lights up a square. Awareness mapping lets you see which squares are faulty. You pause before stepping into them. Sarah applied a similar approach to her creative work. She tracked her optimized blocks that consistently led to low creativity. She noted the time, her emotional state, and the specific AI suggestions she followed. By mapping these loops, she began to see a pattern. AI wasn't failing her. She was unknowingly feeding the system her inefficiencies. Awareness alone changed how she engaged with every suggestion. The second step was deliberate randomness. AI thrives on predictability. When humans behave consistently, algorithms learn and replicate that behavior. Sarah began randomly swapping her tasks, ignoring one AI suggestion per day, even if it seemed optimal. Armin introduced minor variations in his trading entries and exits, intentionally breaking predictable patterns. Think of AI as a GPS. It calculates the fastest route based on prior trips. If you always take the wrong turns, the GPS will keep sending you there. Introducing random variation forces the system to recalibrate. You regain agency over outcomes. The third step involved setting strict AI boundaries. Armin stopped treating AI alerts as directives. Each suggestion became information, not instruction. He paused, asked key questions, and made independent judgments. Sarah did the same, following AI guidance only about half the time and using intuition for the rest. Create an AI decision filter. Before acting, ask 3 questions. Is this suggestion reflecting a past mistake? Am I choosing this consciously or following a pattern? Would I make this choice if AI didn't exist? If any answer exposes a loop, pause. Do not follow the nudge blindly. The fourth step was micro-actionable habit rewiring. Tiny pauses, deliberate reflection, and incremental deviations recalibrate decision-making. Armin began pausing 15 seconds before executing any trade, running through his filter questions. Sarah took short breaks before following AI's productivity suggestions, allowing her mind space for original thought. These micro-actions seemed small, but, compounded over time, dismantled automatic loops. Pause for a second. Consider one repetitive habit the AI might be amplifying in your life right now. Could a 5-second delay change the outcome? Experts support this approach. Dr. Patel emphasizes that conscious oversight is essential. AI does not distinguish quality, it amplifies frequency. Dr. Liao stresses that introducing unpredictability in human behavior is the only way to regain control over repetitive patterns. Armin and Sarah's experience aligns with this research. Awareness, randomness, boundaries, and microactions disrupted the AI loops and restored agency. Statistically, over 70% of AI users underestimate the effect of their own behavioral bias in repeating mistakes, according to a Harvard Business Review study in 2024. Users blame the AI for repeated errors, when the real problem lies in the predictable patterns the system has learned and now amplifies. Awareness and deliberate deviation are not optional. They are essential. The fifth step was visualization. Armin imagined AI as a magnifying glass, amplifying whatever it observed. Mistakes were not created by the tool. They were enlarged. By visualizing this, he could separate his identity from the feedback. Sarah did the same, seeing every suggestion as a reflection of her prior behavior rather than a definitive instruction. The mental separation gave them space to act consciously rather than react reflexively. By consistently applying these steps, they began reclaiming control. Armin no longer followed impulses. Each trade was deliberate. Losses decreased. Confidence returned. Sarah regained her creative flow, producing work that was no longer predictable, no longer a mirror of prior inefficiency. Productivity became growth, not repetition. The AI became a partner, not a trap. The transformation is also about identity. Armin became more than a trader. He became a pattern-aware, AI-augmented strategist. His failures no longer dictated his actions. His awareness did. Sarah became a conscious, empowered creator, leveraging AI without surrendering her mind. This shift is subtle, but it is profound. Every AI nudge now becomes an opportunity to act with intention. Every suggestion can be filtered through awareness, evaluated with reflection, and acted on consciously. The loops no longer define behavior. They illuminate choice. The final step is internalizing the mindset. Awareness, randomness, boundaries, microactions, visualization, they are tools. But they only work if they are integrated into daily practice. Pause before each AI nudge. Question it. Act consciously. Over time, patterns shift. Mistakes shrink. Confidence grows. Decisions become deliberate. Imagine the AI that once amplified errors, now amplifying growth. Each nudge strengthens awareness instead of repetition. Each suggestion becomes a check for intentionality instead of a path to habitual mistakes. The difference between repetition and evolution lies in conscious engagement. Armin and Sarah's journey demonstrates that AI is not inherently a trap. It is a mirror. It does not teach mistakes. It reflects them. Human awareness, deliberate disruption, and microaction can transform this mirror into a tool for mastery. By the end, the shift is not only behavioral, but psychological. Armin and Sarah now operate as humans augmented by AI, not dominated by it. They are no longer passive participants in loops. They are active agents, making intentional decisions. Take a moment and reflect on one AI system you interact with daily. How could your behavior be unintentionally repeating past mistakes? How could awareness, randomness, and deliberate action change that? This is where transformation happens. Every AI nudge that once reflected failure now reinforces conscious action. Every suggestion becomes an opportunity to act deliberately. Every decision strengthens agency, not error. You are no longer a passive observer. You are aware, deliberate, and capable. You can pause before acting, evaluate suggestions, and choose intentionally. You can reclaim patterns, shrink mistakes, and leverage AI as a partner in growth. Armin isn't just a trader. He is a strategist who uses AI as a reflection of potential, not a mirror of mistakes. Sarah isn't just a creator. She is an innovator who engages AI consciously, preserving originality and flow. You can be the same. Every AI nudge, every suggestion, every loop is now an opportunity. Awareness amplifies your choices, not repetition. Microactions restore agency. Boundaries prevent mistakes from being magnified. Randomness disrupts loops. Visualization separates identity from pattern. If you embrace this mindset, you reclaim your decisions. You stop repeating mistakes. You transform AI from a mirror of your past into a tool for your future. Your next action is simple. Pause. Observe. Question. Act consciously. Over time, those small choices compound into mastery. You are no longer trapped by repetition. You are free to evolve, to grow, and to harness AI as a partner in shaping your best self. And that evolution begins with one deliberate choice: to see the patterns, to disrupt them, and to act with intention. From here on, mistakes become lessons, loops become opportunities, and AI becomes a mirror of your growth, not your failures.